Margaret Stump, a hardy lady who's had word of her stinky husband wandering the wastes of Kentucky. Go and watch his story if you haven't already. Armed with an axe and astride her gorgeous steed, a British-made 1952 Vincent Black Lightning motorbike, also known as Vincent, or whispered Vince, for those long, bumpy days on the road, Margaret Stump is on an epic quest across the county to find her husband, Lesley. This is a heavily modded playthrough of Project Zomboid, with around 15 map mods installed as well as a mod list you can find in the description. Here's a brief overview of the traits and stats of our Lady Stumpington: underweight, depressive, panic attacks, smoker, slow reader, lark, amateur mechanic, vehicle nomad, outdoor camping gear, biker nomad, dexterous, strong back and between the shadows. And then we move onwards into this 100-day tale of Margaret and her motorbike, 100 days on the road, exploring a world unlike any you've seen before. Try and get that door open. First time, Margaret Strong. Ah yes, Margaret Stump. She finds some butter, drinks from the dirty bathroom sink, then heads down the road on Vince, stopping to stare into the dead zombie's face for a moment. She's on the hunt for Lesley, her husband, a notoriously useless man who left home with the RV just a couple of days before the apocalypse. Margaret managed to find safety in an outpost outside of the hotspot of Knox County, but now she's venturing back in again to find her lost husband, or at least their much-loved RV. We're actually just going to eat this entire stick of butter right now because Margaret is underweight. She's been on the road a long time and hasn't had much to eat. Butter. Margaret loots a number of houses, collecting all the necessary gear for survival, bags, food and other goodies, while also slicing her way through the unfortunate zombies. She does a bit of singing to herself under her breath. Margarine. So eat that whole tub. Oh, Margaret. She loves margarine. She uses margarine. And then finds an interesting bit of documentation on the shelf. NWS Register, Knox County 1989. National Weather Station Register. Everything is going swimmingly for Margaret. Until... Ah, you bastard. He was so sneaky. He knocked my hat off. The old man knocked my hat off. It's okay, Margaret. This crazy guy with his shower cap on knocked my hat clean off my head. It's okay, Margaret. Calm down. She patches herself up, goes inside to grab her beloved cowboy hat, and then gets decked out in some new gear. Damn, Margaret, you're looking drippy already. Looking good. Alright, let's go. Down the road, she gets distracted by this zombie who she believes might have a backpack, and remembers her hand is hurting, so she can't swing the axe so well. Do you love zombies? Do you love Margaret? Do you love eggs? If so, please consider subscribing. Enjoy the video. Margaret needs to take some evasive measures in case the zombies eat her while she's kicking Vincent to life. And we'll get back to Vincent. Okay, get on the motorbike. Get on the motorbike. Yep, start the engine. Oh, Jesus, Margaret. She grabs some cigarettes from the gas station before the door gets swamped with rotting corpses. So she sneaks around the back and then hops on Vincent right under their dumbass noses. Let's make our getaway. Yeah, we're out here. Let's go, Margaret. We're leaving. Margaret returns to the small shack on the outside of town to set up base for the first night. She leans up against Vincent and eats a bag of scavenged chips and smokes a sweet cigarette. It is harsh on her throat. She sets up the tent inside, puts together a small campfire, then forages in the nearby woods as the sun sets. Shadows twist in the trees, and she feels a little scared. Margs prepares a meal on Vincent's seat. The oils ooze into the leather. She's just cooking on the back of Vincent, using him as a little table. She's gonna have to sit on that. It's gonna be all stinky and greasy. Greasy motorbike seat. She pulls out a doll she found in one of the houses and plays with its hair. It makes her feel calmer. The chili stir-fry sizzles on the fire. She sits for a while longer and tries breathing exercises. Margaret is not used to being out here, all on her own, surrounded by nothing but the growling dead. But for Lesley, she'll brave it, just in case he's still alive somewhere out there. Did you hear something, Margaret? No. What was that? okay. It's okay. She does suffer from these sudden panic attacks as the night draws in. But there's nothing here. It's okay. Warm your hands. Even though it's 90 degrees out and you're wearing a puffer jacket, you must be absolutely boiling. Okay, drink all the white wine. Try and calm yourself down. Margaret downs a bottle of white wine in the hopes it helps her sleep, but she's still woken in the middle of the night by a sudden fright. Oh, the zombie at the window? No, there's nothing. She is still alone. She woke up in the night. I mean, it's very understandable to be a bit scared, but this is a pretty safe little room. Make sure there's no one in the bathroom. It's okay. Look at yourself in the mirror and calm down a little bit. Fill up your bottle. What was that? It's okay. It's okay. There's no one out here. Just you and your doll. Let's get this fire on. Get some light. Okay. Have a cigarette as well. Night 1. Spent the night in a small cabin. She's got an infected hand, so we're just going to hold on for a moment. After resting up after that stressful night, Margaret heads out again. The road is wide and open, the sun is fierce on her red cheeks, and the wind whips through her hair. A stench of rotting crops fills the air, hard to discern from the ordinary smell of rotting flesh. She finds a small group of houses in the dead fields and decides to check them out. Her heart is still racing even at the sight of one of these zombies climbing over a fence. She tries to relax and bury the axe firmly in its skull. Belly button ring. Just get that in your belly button, Margaret. It's actually disgusting. Imagine putting a zombie's belly button ring in your belly button. Belly buttons are disgusting anyway, actually. Foul little holes. Foul little pits of mould and gunk. Disgusting. After stealing the zombie's belly button ring, Margaret walks the fields looking for old vegetables, anything even slightly fresh. No luck, but she does find a fetching yellow hard hat. She can't get rid of the cowboy hat because it belonged to Lesley once upon a time, and she hopes she can return it to him. She hits the road again and searches for the next spot to explore. The farmhouses up the road are peaceful and seemingly untouched by the apocalypse. She takes a bath upstairs, careful to close the curtains, because old habits die hard. Margaret shoves some jam in her throat, careful not to look too closely at the mouldy bread on the table, crawling with maggots. Then she begins to set up the camp for the evening. Tomato and peanut butter stir fry, is it, Margaret? You've opened this tin of beans, and now you're going to put it back to Vincent's little pocket. Beany little pocket. Margaret sets up the tent in the middle of the floor. She would rather go upstairs to sleep in the double bed, but something about all that dead, dusty skin, the sense and touch of some old corpse, makes her feel extremely uncomfortable. She'd much rather stay inside her own comfortable meat pocket, her cosy little tent. She puts down her doll to watch over the room, to bring her peace, but unfortunately... She woke up with night terrors again. She can actually hear a zombie this time. Have a cigarette. Just one wander around. Side, Margaret. It's okay. Margaret sits on the toilet in the dark and waits for it all to blow over. In the morning, she smashes the zombie's head in that had so rudely awoken her and continues on her way. Hitchhikers may be escaping inmates. Where are we? Check out this place first. Delicious orange soda. What was that, Margaret? What did you see or hear? Someone in the cubicle? Oh. On the other side of the road is a large drive-through theatre. She investigates. There are plenty of cars here to fiddle with, and that's good, because Vincent is in pretty dire shape. Mags needs to sharpen up her mechanics and electric skill before she can start tinkering with her little friend. There'll be nothing on that screen ever again, Margaret. Don't look at me like that. You know it's the truth. I can repair the suspension with duct tape. That doesn't sound like an excellent idea. Ah yes, sit on the floor and eat in front of the toilet. Delicious. Must smell amazing. Utterly scrumptious. She's very tired. Okay, Margaret, let's get some sleep. Hopefully you sleep slightly better here. Nice, she slept all the way till 7:40. Slept at the drive-in theatre. Peaceful night's sleep for once. She begins the day facing an astronomical issue. Vincent's little pockets are already full of shite. They can be repaired, but Margaret doesn't even know how to use a needle yet, or possess one either. So there's no other option but to hit the road on the hunt for more adventure and her lost husband. Pickles! Okay, yeah, that did make me scared. Came to interrupt my pickle party. Okay, so we appear to be on the outskirts of Rosewood. Margaret is indeed in Rosewood, an area she has read about on the news. Completely overrun with zombies, of course, but maybe there's someone out there. Maybe? As she loots more houses, she becomes more and more depressed, until she spies something excellent in the schoolyard. A school bus. This could be an excellent upgrade for us. Let's have a look at what kind of condition it's in. The bus is in pretty awful shape, but Margaret is already thinking of the future. Of course, she has a few skills to level first before she consider moving into it full time, but it's a start. Honest Bender's Electronics. These zombies are a little smart, aren't they? They've walked over to the smaller fence. A little bit concerning. Margaret's never noticed this behaviour before. Are the zombies growing smarter? I hope not. Margaret finds this car, which is in pretty good shape, and one that can be used as a utility and storage vehicle, at least temporarily. It takes her a long while to hotwire though, and she keeps getting little electric shocks on her fingers. The inside of the car smells faintly of cat shit. Come on, Margaret, you can do it. Nice, new pair of wheels. She sets up a temporary camp, but doesn't feel great about it. She's a nervous wreck and severely depressed. It's okay, how could you be depressed? You found your new home, this beautiful bus. Put your doll down next to the fire, Margaret. Everything's gonna be okay. Don't worry, you're gonna cook yourself some tasty dinner. With the fire roaring, Margaret smashes her way into the school bus to see what's inside. It's dark, but there's so much room. If she wanted to, she could snuggle up on one of the musty seats, but she prefers her meat pocket, the trusty tent. Take off a bit of some of your clothes. I mean, she's covered in blood. She looks crazy. Stir fry's almost done. Margaret does make a mess. Like someone else you might remember. Right, now let's get that wine in you, girl. Whilst we still have a little daylight, just gonna pop over this fence. Disgusting. Margaret, absolutely disgusting. After turning that zombie's head into spaghetti bolognese, she settles down to sleep, only to get rudely awoken once again in the night. Whoa, what's that noise? What's that noise? A helicopter. Cool, no problems other than the helicopter that passed overhead and the fact that she got a little wet. I think it's time to go investigate the school. Quietly, Margaret, quietly. Hello, I can see your butt. Margaret wants to investigate the school to see if there's a library, but except for the shambling teachers and students still left over in their eternal prison, there ain't any books in here. What are you doing there, sir? Oh, Jesus. It's okay. Stay calm. Margarine. Nice. New fanny pack. He emerges from the trees. I think because it's raining, we're going to take the car out. Margaret doesn't want to get wet. Just going to do a little exploring. Let's see what what goodies await us inside the fire station. I hear them, but I cannot see them. Ah! Fireman Margaret. She grabs a shower in the ice-cold, mosquito-infected waters of the fire station, then cleans her new fire gear, and heads over the street to the police station. Looks pretty deserted. Looks like they attempted to hold out here. Barricades on the windows. That was a really stupid move, Margaret. Ah, there's a key. Absolutely nothing. Couple of boxes of shotgun ammo. Hardly anything at all. Whoa, Margaret, what are you doing? She's been driving a motorbike for too long. Back at the temporary camp, she decides that yes, tonight she will sleep in the school bus. The helicopter last night has spooked her. The night is uneventful and she awakes for another day on the road. Upon reflection, Margaret decides that it's a little too early to begin settling in a school bus. Before she leaves Rosewood though, she needs some books. She hops back in the car and heads into middle of town. She's just going to take out a little anger on the populace of Rosewood. Beautifully done, Margaret. She pillages the bookshop after the bloodshed and gets some very important books, like Mechanics 1, Electricity 1 and all that good stuff, then returns to the camp. Oops. Sorry, Vincent. It did a little wobble. Margaret decides that she's going to have to leave the bus behind. She has no propane, no mechanical skills whatsoever, and plenty of Knox County still to explore. Packing up a few bits and pieces and leaving other stuff in the back of the car, she heads to the outskirts of Rosewood and comes across an auto shop. There's hardly anything inside of any value, there never is, so she carries on out of the town. Out in the field, she comes across another farmhouse. She puts up a tent and carries the corpses outside. Ew, disgusting squelchy flesh. Ew! Margaret lights the fire, cooks some food, then sits on the sofa in the living room to read her book. Unfortunately, she enters a Project Zomboid alternate dimension and has to make a bizarre escape. Oh no, she's stuck in the sofa. She's going to have to climb out the window. Oh, Project Zomboid. I love you. In the morning, she heads out again and finds another gorgeous house in the countryside, this time infested with football fans. She mops them up nice and easy and continues on her way. Hidden a little in the bushes, she sees a sign, "Welcome to Blackwood." Curious, she investigates, but she wishes she hadn't. Caution, quarantine area. Oh man, something real bad happened here. What happened here? Look at all this detritus, Margaret. Frolic in the trash. Margaret sneaks into the ruined town of Blackwood, calling out quite quietly to see if anyone answers, but there is only deathly silence, or the clanging of a metal tin on the floor, or the deep, low groan of a zombie behind a shutter. She takes the barricades down off a door, creeps through a dusty clothes shop, and stumbles across a horde of shambling monsters lingering in the buildings. Oh, good stuff. Someone in the window. This place is teeming with zombies. You build so many barricades, eventually it becomes like a prison. Oh boy, there's a lot of zombies here. Oh, that looks grim down there. Blackwood stinks of death. Margaret feels on edge, like she's being watched from the shadows. So much destruction. She hates it and has to get out immediately. This place is horrible. I don't like it. I really don't like it. Who are you? Where did you come from? This place is a hellhole, and I hate it. We're leaving, Margaret. Just going to give myself a little wash. Got covered in gore and disgusting stuff. I think we can probably camp in here this evening as well, on the edge of this cesspit. Oh, look how Vincent glows. My darling Vincent. Margaret wakes in the night, of course, because the horrors of Blackwood are just on her doorstep. She heads out in the morning feeling a bit bleary, then stops at a farmhouse just up the road. A snuffling, gurgling sound comes from the building, and she peeks in the window to see a female zombie hunched over a corpse, eating its guts. She doesn't want to get too distracted on her quest for propane, so she continues on. A little later, she finds a small dirt path that leads into the trees, towards a small group of abandoned huts. It appears to be some sort of military base, but the cupboards are empty, and Margaret jumps back on Vincent. Just a little bit further up the road, she finds a couple of large food storage warehouses on the edge of a lake. It looks like a decent place to set up camp and try to fish, so she shouts a few times and clears out the surrounding area. With the tent set up inside one of the warehouses, which smells faintly of rotten vegetables but does protect her from the undead outside, she reads how to craft a fishing rod and then falls asleep. On the next morning, she sets off on Vincent whilst it's still dark. There's a gas station down the road which she pillages for pop and sugary snacks, then jumps on her trusty steed. She finds a car park and siphons some gas very slowly with a plastic bottle from this car and pours it into Vincent's little guzzling mouth. She really needs to find a gas can. Approach quietly, Margaret. There's quite a lot of zombies here. There's a Gigamart in the next lot over, which she explores. But she just doesn't have room to carry any more tins or food goods in Vincent's small saddlebags. She needs to repair them soon for more room. Hello, sir. Customer on aisle 1. The back of the mart has even more shelves of tinned foods. I won't become one of them. Looks like you did, ma'am. Looks like you did. Just behind the mart is a row of houses with garages, and she hopes that she might find some propane or propane torches tucked away. Unfortunately, none of them have any propane, so she packs it in and tries her luck elsewhere. Whoa! Sick air, Margaret. Are you okay? I think she's okay. She didn't even hurt herself. Vincent, on the other hand, probably did take a bit of damage there. We need to find propane's stat or Vincent. Margaret really needs to focus up, otherwise she's going to die flying over the handlebars. She drives past the distillery, no use to her, not yet, then arrives at McCoy Logging, but the building is full of zombies, and she's not interested in planks. The warehouses nearby look more promising, and while the bottom floor is just logs, Margaret checks upstairs for good measure. Propane tank is a start. Just need a torch. Ah, yes. Although she has propane now, she still doesn't have a propane torch, which is necessary to do repairs to Vincent. It's a propane tank and sledgehammer in this warehouse. No torch though, which is what we need to get started. What is that over there? Some kind of temporary camp. Need to check that out for sure. First though, let's see if there's any propane anywhere. Maybe we can spend the night in that camp actually. She pops open a few garages but doesn't find anything of really any use and is starting to feel a bit sleepy. Margaret returns to the top floor of the warehouse because it feels fairly safe and puts up the tent and gets her doll out. She rests through the night without any night terrors or nightmares. Her dreams are instead full of sunny days with Lesley, sat on Rod the RV's step, watching the sun on the lake. Thanks very much for joining me and Margaret on her first 9 days in the wilderness, exploring alongside Vincent. It's been a while since I released a video because my plan was to release this, what you've just watched, as a single 3-hour episode. Turns out I miss you guys and I got too eager to share Margaret's story. This will mean regular releases of videos over the next few weeks as we work towards Margaret's first 100 days. The next video will be out on Sunday, and then every Sunday until Margaret's story ends. Thanks for watching.